This is Shae Spitz with Living in Nebraska. Today I'm going to be talking with Lori Peters of Habitat for Humanity of Columbus, Nebraska. As a reminder, I am a licensed real estate agent in Nebraska. So if you are looking to either buy or sell, I would love to help you with any of your real estate needs. And welcome to the channel where we are talking about what we can do and what we do here in Columbus, Nebraska today. So let's jump on in. Okay, so I have Lori Peters today with me talking about Habitat for Humanity and what Habitat is about. And then also we have their cookie kits that they do every year. This is something that I've done for a couple years now where I buy a bunch of them and I donate them to my clients for that year. And it's just really a fun way to get people involved in the community, but also be able to give back to Habitat for Humanity. So Lori, kind of tell us a little bit about what Habitat does for Columbus.
Okay, so Habitat for Humanity is a Christian housing organization under the affiliate of Habitat for Humanity International, but we are a self-governing entity here in Columbus, and we set our own goals and find our own resources to help people who would not be able to own a home under traditional methods become homeowners. We serve a population that is often hard to find a way to become a homeowner. Those who are low income but hardworking, we make a house affordable for them to purchase. We build it with our community helpers. Anybody can volunteer with Habitat and bring their corporation or their business or just their friend group and help us build homes so that others can end the poverty cycle. Did you know that home ownership is the #1 way to end the poverty cycle?
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That is amazing. That is amazing. And I really like how with Habitat for Humanity, like you said, I mean, literally the general public and family and friends go work together to build this house. And then obviously you still have to abide by city rules, regulations, doing the permits and inspections and all of that. But you basically have your family and friends in the community all come together, not only for their resources, but also the hardworking. And that's one thing that I think Nebraska prides itself on is one, working together. I really do think that Nebraska probably gives back to one another more than most of other states, but then also they're hardworking. I mean, Nebraskans are hardworking. I was born and raised in Nebraska, family are farmers, and it is work hard, go, go, go. It's a grind, you know? And that's what I love about Nebraska too. And, you know, I think why a lot of people end up coming to Nebraska. But so what are some of the resources and how do you get a lot of your funding each year?
Okay, so we build actually starting in 2023, we build 2 homes a year in Columbus. And I really think our capacity could be eventually at 3 homes a year for the size of our community. Each house that we build costs somewhere in the vicinity of $150,000 out of pocket. Now that's not the cost of the home, but that's what it costs us. You know, there's a lot of electricians, plumbers, roofers that donate goods and services to us. Our lumber yards give us great deals and stuff. So while it costs us $150,000, it's not really the cost of the building. It's just where we end up. And this year we started a great project with Lakeview Community Schools where their construction trades class under Mr. Wilson are building a house for us. And hopefully that goes great. So far it is, and we just will continue that project. So it's just another way to get more people in a home quicker.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I know I helped, was it last year, maybe 2 years ago with the building, and I run into her quite often. Yeah, I do, because the homeowner, because she actually ended up buying a dog from me after she had moved in. And I mean, she's just so appreciative and so thankful of everything that you guys had done to put that together. So how does somebody even qualify, and what is that process like?
Okay, so the process starts with in April, HUD, you know, the federal government sets the guidelines for our area median income and what is considered low income. And so it is graduated by number of people in a family. So it's not, you know, a straight number across the bar. It depends on how many people are in your family. But the very first step is to qualify income wise, because it's not a free home. All of these recipients pay a mortgage every month, which is, usually one of the things that people have wrong about Habitat.
Yeah.
And so if they meet the income threshold with the size of their family, then we do an orientation in August where we bring everybody who's interested together and we go through all the rules and everything that it takes. And if they're still interested at that point, there's a lengthy application process. It's actually a lot of work to get to the final stages. And after that application is submitted, we have a lengthy vetting process where we check criminal records, we check credit reports, anything that might disqualify or qualify them for the home. Now, we can be a little flexible with Habitat with things like debt to income ratio. Maybe they have a large outstanding bill somewhere, but even if they've paid like $10 a month on it every month, we can look at that where a traditional bank cannot.
Yeah.
They're automatically disqualified there.
Yeah.
So at that point, we have a certain committee that gets together and reviews everything and where everybody stands income-wise, criminal background-wise, things like that. And at that point, they select a certain number out of those applications that we feel are worthy of a home visit. So on to the next step. So the next step is a home visit.
Oh.
And that's where there's 3 pillars of Habitat, and one of the pillars is need.
Yeah.
And that's probably what was the most shocking to me in this position, and what I continue to be shocked at year after year. And
Is what people live in, how they're
Yes.
living. Is that what you mean by that?
yes, because even though I think there was one house actually that just shocked me years ago, because it was a small house out right behind Hy-Vee, really, right in the middle of Columbus. And the lady found a possum under her couch that had just come in through the foundation. And to me, in the middle of Columbus, to have a situation like that is just, I could not understand that, because we're in a first world country, we're generous to each other. And I just couldn't believe that was just shocking to me. And then I think the next thing, a lot of our trailers in our community are in really poor shape, even if they look good on the outside. One of the people we visited this year only had electricity in half of their trailer and without a heater. And I mean, this is Nebraska.
Yeah. It gets cold in the winter.
And their trailers.
Yeah.
If you've ever lived in a trailer, they do not retain their heat. I mean,
Yeah.
they are cold.
I imagine.
And so I think that's been the most surprising thing for me, and that people accept that and think it's normal, and we could all help with that. And I think that's what's important. So anyway, side story there, but so we go out and so maybe somebody would qualify financially the best, but their need, like if they're living in a trailer without heat, I mean, that raises them to the top of the list in the need category.
Yeah.
So when the committee comes back together and shares all of that, that's where it gets complicated, because, if we're only building 1 or 2 or 3 houses a year, we have more people that need it. So it is hard to make that decision.
And I don't think anybody realizes how hard that decision is until you're in a position like that. Because I help with transitional housing, and we finally had families, and we had an apartment that we were going to bring people into, and we had to basically choose between 2 families on who we were going to be able to help.
Right.
And it was awful. I mean,
Because what are you doing to the other families?
Yes.
Where are they going to go?
and nobody, I never, that was the last stressor that I thought was going to be entail all of that,
You don't
and then when it came down to it, I'm like, somebody else pick. I don't know. I'll just go with whatever. It was awful. And I don't think people realize how hard that is on you guys when you're picking, because it's not easy. Because then you're like, well, am I hurting somebody else? It's not fun, and it's not easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
You have to take the emotion out of it, because else you just don't sleep at night.
no,
Yeah.
no, it'll eat you.
Yeah.
It will. It
Yeah.
will. But so where do you kind of see Habitat going from here? And what are you wanting to Yeah, in the next year or 5 years? What does that look like to you?
Okay, so we're officially at 2 house affiliates. So within just 10 years, I think that's pretty good. I think we could be at the capacity of 3, like I said. And we're looking at, our banks, our local banks are really coming alongside of us. We're collaborating with the chamber. I don't think we have the capacity in our community with all of our nonprofits to raise that much money to build 3 houses a year. But I think we could raise it one time and then be creative about how we reuse that money over and over again, make it more revolving instead of fundraising. Now, of course, we have to fundraise,
Yes.
and
Yep.
we fundraise a couple $100,000 a year.
That's amazing.
And we need to keep that up. But I also realize that as a community member, I can't continue to ask people to give me $82 over and over and over again. $82 is the cost of a square foot of a Habitat house. And anyway, so that's one side of it. The 3 home build, I think, is a goal. A part that I'm really excited about is where we're going with our veteran program. So in 2020, we started talking about the idea of a veteran arm of Habitat, serving our veterans here in our community. And that has been a big push from Habitat International also. Their veteran side is really growing, and they're working very hard with affiliates in order for us to grow too. When I started looking into that, do you know that 10% of our veterans in Platte County live below the poverty line? And then I started thinking, now I don't have numbers for this, but most of our veterans, a lot of them have to be 70 or older.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then, thinking about that is really, these needs just never end, Shae, as you know, on that transitional housing committee. But so we built 1 house for a young veteran. And ironically, as soon as the house was built, she got deployed to Africa like a month later for a year, almost a year. She was gone from her 2 little kids. But our Habitat home gave her kids a place. I mean, if she was renting, she would have had to give up that apartment and the kids would have had to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So the house gave her kids stability, which just gives me goosebumps.
I
But,
literally
yeah,
just got
right.
goosebumps because I know who you're referring to,
Yeah.
and it's just an amazing story on what you guys were able to do for families.
Well, for her kids, yeah. And then after that, we're looking like, where do we want to go with this veteran program? And so then we had a couple people like somebody would say, there's this veteran and he's got this leak around his chimney. And, so we'd call up somebody and he went over there and just, no questions asked. He was a policeman who roofed on the side and he just went over there and fixed it. And there was no bill or anything. So we've been able to connect a few things like that, put up some handlebars for people. But our next project was for a veteran who he came to us and all he wanted was rails on his stairs because he was a really tall man and his balance issues had, as he got older, had become more unstable, and he was falling off his stairs when he left his house. Such a basic thing, right?
Yeah.
But when you get to a certain age, getting those little projects done becomes difficult. Well, we could easily step in and put handrails on this house for him. But then as I talked to him more, he needed his house sided. And so I don't know, something like every payday he'd gone and bought so much from Menards. And he'd been storing this in his garage, waiting for the day he had purchased it all. And so we ended up in that project. We put handrails up on his front steps. We encased his deck because he had a nice flat deck, but there were no steps to it and there was no railing. So made that safe for him. He got new front doors and back doors. He was already scheduled for a roof to put on. We just made sure it got done. And then we sided the house for him, trimmed some trees, and his coworkers came out and re-landscaped his house. So talk about neighborhood revitalization. It was a huge change. So that was our next project. And then a few more little ones. And then last winter we had a widow, a military widow. Her husband had passed away and she lived out in the country north of Columbus and her pipes had frozen in her first floor bathroom. So this 70-plus-year-old woman was climbing up a second flight of stairs with really bad knees, and she was driving into town to do her laundry because she had no running water on this first floor where her washing machine and bathroom were. So we came in there and I don't know what they did, but insulated somehow so that her pipes don't freeze
Yep.
again.
Yep.
Plus, while they were doing it, they made her bathroom handicap accessible. So, you know, the wheelchair has plenty of room if she would ever need to do that. And her washer and dryer are back there. So she can again live on the first floor of her home, which is important, as you know, in the real estate market, aging in place. You know,
I was just going to say that it's not, you're not only just, you're keeping people in their homes longer though too, because the last thing, especially if you've been in a house forever, is going to a nursing home or assisted living. You don't want to. Plus the expense of that is
it's crazy
outrageous.
right
It's
now.
outrageous. But then like being able to keep people in their home and safely and comfortably is really what that's about though too. So you guys are also not only building homes for people who are low income and need it, but you're helping almost restore.
Repair.
And repair and restore and keeping people in their homes.
Well,
So-
and then the next thing that happened with the veteran project is we were donated a property this year from a veteran family here locally. And so that's where we're at right now. The house was not salvageable, so it's on the demo list. I don't know, it could be demoed right now, I don't know, but it's supposed to be done before the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then I hope we build a house for a veteran family on that property.
Yeah.
I think it's important to the neighborhood, and it would really help with the looks of the neighborhood there.
Big time.
So
yeah.
that's what our next project will be. We'll be raising funds for this veteran home. And then I really hope that we can revolve those funds into some kind of major veteran project going forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Well,
Things always change.
I know, and there's always, well, and so we're talking about the cookie kits. What are some of the fundraisers that you guys do throughout the year to help raise those funds, to do the 2 houses, and then hopefully someday to be able to do those 3 houses? Where do you get most of your resources to be able to do that? And then I guess my other question is, I'm sorry, I'm going a bunch of different directions, but you had made the comment that the people who are living in those homes still have a mortgage. How does that work? If you raise the money, but then yet they still have a mortgage, are they paying you guys back kind of?
Right. So each Habitat home at this point has a 30-year mortgage.
Okay.
With the costs of house, the house building costs rising, we might have to go to 33 or anyway, somewhere in there. But yes, at this point, Habitat is its own bank. So we raise the funds, we build the home, and then we hold the mortgage for them for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
I think some of our creative solutions are coming where maybe banks will buy those mortgages for us so we have the money right away back in.
Yeah.
Those are all things that are in the works right now. But at this point, Habitat owns its own mortgages and we hold them.
Wow.
So that's why we always have to raise that basically $150,000 per house. And we do that. We have done a lot of things, but I think for the foreseeable future, we're going to do that through, we have a big golf fundraiser that we did last year that was very successful that I think we're going to keep going for the foreseeable future. And that's the last Friday in June.
Okay.
Then really after that, we have a few local grants. We have some big corporate donors. And then after that, it's really from about November 1 to December 31st is, we try to do online giving in November with a big push for Club 82. We try to get that through social media, sharing emails, things like that.
And those are 2 different ones. You have the 82 and then you have the Giving Tuesday, right? Or what?
Well, it kind of all just kind of blended into one.
Okay,
We really
okay.
kind of push that $82 because it's very tangible. So if you give $82 to Habitat, you're basically paying for 1 square foot of the next home. And that really is what it is. Those $82 really go to buy studs or flooring or nails or whatever it is. And we
Yeah.
try to grow that pot to 150. It was our biggest year this year, so I think the idea is really catching on. If every 250 $82 donations pays for a quarter of a Habitat house. So really all it would take is 1,000 people in our 30,000 population community who would give $82 once a year, and it's a whole nother house, really.
Yeah, that's amazing. It sounds so simple, doesn't it?
It does,
It
but
sounds so simple, but unfortunately it's not that easy.
Yeah, no, it's not. All I can do is provide the opportunity. I cannot
Yeah.
motivate the giving.
Yeah.
And then we do letter writing campaign at the end of the year.
Okay.
And that still, a lot of people don't do that anymore, but it still really works for a population of habitat. So our November and our December are big months.
Oh, yeah,
So,
for sure. Well, and then like your cookie kits.
Right. So the cookie kits are what the high school committee of Habitat does. A couple years ago, we had a young man who wanted to do more for the Habitat families who moved in, because really we build the house and then we're done. And sometimes they would come without anything. And he saw that and wanted to know what he could do to help. And so he kind of got some friends together and they founded this campus committee. And since that founding, this is how they raise about $5,000 a year. They bring the 4 area high schools together, all the volunteers from the kids who are willing, and they make cookie dough, they roll it out, they bake it, and then they assemble these kits. And those kits have a dozen cookies and ready to go frosting and sprinkles.
Yeah,
So
just open one real quick. So it's a great way to kind of give back or like buy some for your family, your friends, your kids. But yeah, I mean, they do a dozen cookies and you guys, you nail it out. I mean, you start on a Friday, you're done by Sunday. I mean, you do all of those cookies because how many dozens did you do this year?
well, I think they made almost 5,000 cookies usually.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and like for people who don't like to bake, such as myself, this is a fantastic way to still be able to have the Christmas tradition and decorate cookies with your kids without having to bake. I don't
All
like
done.
baking.
Yep. And it's all done. And so they sell those for a dozen for 15 and 2 dozen for 25. And, it's really been successful because the teammates in Platte County, and actually we've had Butler County and Merritt County have bought some too, but the Columbus teammates buy one for each of their partners, their big or not big, they're what do they call it?
Well, they're
Mentor,
teammates.
mentor and mentee.
Yes.
And so that's a huge, and then a number of our realtors in town purchase it, like Shae purchased them for their
Clients.
clients of the year. And
I know I should do more, but yeah, I bought several this year and I ran out. So you said that you have more and
we
I
do
might
have
need
a
to.
few more, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but I think it's just a good way to just let people know it's pretty cheap. And then plus you're giving back to a great cause, which I think is amazing.
I think it's great. I think like employers could buy them, and give them as Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
They're great thank you gifts I buy a few and give them to some of our, better contractors here in Columbus that we use a lot. They're cute and they support a great cause.
Yeah. So if somebody's looking to kind of help with Habitat for Humanity, you can also do so if you're if you're in high school, which I think is amazing that you guys recently started. So if you have kids or if you're a kid and you're listening to this and you want to get involved and you're with one of the 4 high schools here in Columbus, just reach out to Lori or who would they reach out to?
Sure. So just give our office a call. We're in the phone book. We're on all the social media platforms.
And then if they're wanting to donate, how can they go about donating to Habitat for Humanity?
Same thing. Any of the social media platforms, phone number, email.
What is your phone number?
402-564-4663, and we'll go from there.
And then I'm assuming you're always looking for volunteers to help as well, not just financially too, but physically helping?
So for the last few years, we've done what's called a blitz build, and we build the house from foundation to full enclosure in 2 weeks, and that starts April 20th, 2024.
Okay.
So if you, just as an individual, or if you have a group of people, maybe a group of coworkers, last year we had a group of friends in a Bible study, maybe the board of realtors, however you may have a few, like 10 to 15 friends, call us up and we'll get you a build day and we'll make you dirty and send you home tired. So
it's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, there's cookie kits that they do every year, the golf tournament that they do every year. So this is an ongoing thing, and they're obviously looking to increase to provide and give back to individuals in the community, but also not just building the houses, but as you heard Lori talk about, is restoring and repairing veterans' homes, which is an amazing thing to do to be able to keep them in their home because they obviously sacrificed their lives at some point in time in their life. So they They fought for our country. So thank you so much, Lori, with Habitat for Humanity of Columbus. And so if you're looking to give back, reach out to Lori or even myself, and I can get you connected as well. So thank you so much for everything that you've done. And I'm excited to see the Habitat for Humanity grow even more. Maybe we'll be the big, or you guys will be the biggest ones in Nebraska or the United States someday. You never know. So awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lori.
Thank you, Shae, and thank you for the support.
Yes.